Rome's third emperor, it's Caligula, who has come to stand for the corruption, horror, and excess of imperial Rome.
Power, wealth, and status often come with eccentricity, but some royals took it to a whole new level. From an emperor who believed he was made of glass to a king who launched a brutal reign of terror, history is filled with rulers whose bizarre behavior defied reason. These monarchs weren't just strange, they were downright shocking. Get ready to uncover the 20 royals who were beyond weird. Number 20. Mad Emperor Caligula. Is there a limit to how strange an emperor can be? Step into the chaotic rule of Caligula, the most infamous leader Rome ever saw. Caligula, born Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus in 12 AD, started his reign in 37 AD with high hopes. But things took a wild turn pretty quickly. Imagine a leader who, after surviving a severe illness, shifts from a promising ruler to a tyrant with a taste for the absurd. One of his most notorious antics? He adored his horse, Incitatus, so much that he reportedly planned to make him a consul, a top political position. Talk about horsing around with politics. But the madness didn't stop there. Caligula had a floating bridge constructed across the Bay of Baiae, stretching over 2 miles, just so he could ride his horse across it, flaunting his defiance of a soothsayer's prediction. His personal life was equally scandalous. Rumors swirled about inappropriate relationships with his sisters and a penchant for extravagant and lewd parties. His erratic behavior extended to the political arena, where he humiliated senators and was known for his unpredictable and violent actions. Caligula's reign was short-lived, lasting only 4 years. His excessive actions and blatant disrespect for Roman traditions led to his assassination in 41 AD by members of his own guard. Number 19. Russia's terrifying tyrant. Does youth make a ruler weak or unstoppable? Ivan, born in 1530, seized the throne young, marking the beginning of Russia's Tsarist era. His early reign showed promise with significant territorial expansions, notably the conquest of Kazan and Astrakhan, which extended Russian influence into Siberia. However, Ivan's rule took a dark turn, marked by extreme measures and a climate of fear. He established the Oprichnina, a state policy that granted him absolute power over certain territories. This era saw the rise of the Oprichniki, his personal guard, notorious for their black attire and ruthless enforcement of Ivan's will. They were instrumental in the brutal sacking of Novgorod, where thousands perished under accusations of treason. Ivan's personal life was equally tumultuous. In a fit of rage, he fatally struck his eldest son and heir, Ivan Ivanovich, during an argument. This tragic incident left his less capable son, Fyodor, to inherit the throne, leading to a period of instability known as the Time of Troubles. Number 18. Charles VI of France. Can a ruler lead while believing he's as fragile as glass? Meet Charles VI of France, who took the throne in 1380 after his birth in 1368. Early in his reign, he was affectionately called Charles the Beloved. However, as time went on, his erratic behavior earned him the moniker Charles the Mad. In 1392, during a military expedition, Charles experienced his first major psychotic episode. He suddenly attacked his own knights, resulting in the death of several men. Following this incident, he fell into a coma that lasted 4 days. One of his most bizarre delusions was the belief that he was made of glass. Fearing he might shatter, he reportedly had iron rods sewn into his clothing to protect himself. During his episodes, Charles often failed to recognize his own family. He would run wildly through the corridors of his palace, leading his attendants to wall up entrances to prevent his escape. In 1405, he refused to bathe or change his clothes for 5 months. Charles's mental instability had profound political consequences. Power struggles ensued among the nobility, weakening France and paving the way for English victories in the 100 Years' War, including the infamous Battle of Agincourt. Number 17. Joanna the Mad. How far can grief push a queen? Juana I of Castile, famously called Juana la Loca, spent years traveling with her husband's embalmed remains. Born in 1479 to the famed Catholic monarchs Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, Juana was a princess with a promising future. In 1496, she married Philip the Handsome, Archduke of Austria. Their union was passionate but tumultuous, marred by Philip's numerous infidelities. Juana's profound love for Philip led to intense jealousy, causing erratic behaviors that fueled rumors of her instability. In 1506, tragedy struck when Philip died suddenly, possibly from typhoid fever. Devastated, Juana's actions took a macabre turn. She reportedly refused to part with Philip's embalmed body, transporting it across Castile for an extended period. Some accounts suggest she kept his casket open, displaying an unsettling attachment to her deceased husband. Juana's father, Ferdinand, and later her son, Charles V, capitalized on her perceived madness to confine her and seize power. She spent nearly 5 decades imprisoned in the royal palace in Tordesillas, isolated from the world. Number 16. Emperor Nero. Roman history is filled with warriors, but have you heard of the emperor who craved the spotlight instead? Meet Nero, the ruler who made theaters his battlefield. Born in 37 AD, Nero ascended to the throne as the 5th Roman emperor. Unlike his predecessors, Nero had a flair for the arts. He didn't just patronize musicians and actors, he became one. Nero's passion led him to perform publicly as a singer, actor, and even a charioteer, roles that were considered unbecoming for someone of his imperial stature. In 59 AD, Nero introduced the Juvenalia, a festival celebrating youthful arts, where he showcased his talents. He didn't stop there. In 60 AD, he established the Neronia, modeled after Greek festivals, featuring music, gymnastics, and equestrian events. Nero himself competed, blurring the lines between emperor and entertainer. His performances weren't limited to Rome. In 67 AD, Nero participated in the Olympic Games in Greece. He competed in a chariot race with a 10-horse team, a spectacle that ended with him being thrown from the chariot. Despite not finishing, he was still declared the winner, showcasing the extent of his influence. Nero's artistic pursuits scandalized the Roman elite, but endeared him to the masses. He built a private theater in the Ager Vaticanus, where he rehearsed for his public performances. This theater, long lost to history, was recently unearthed beneath Rome, shedding light on Nero's dedication to the arts. Number 15. Elagabalus. Elagabalus became the Roman emperor at just 14, but was the empire ready for his rule? Born in 203 AD in Emesa, Syria, his reign, 218 to 222 AD, was marked by religious turmoil and scandal. As a high priest of the sun god Elagabal, he prioritized his deity over Rome's traditional gods. He even built a lavish temple on the Palatine Hill to house a sacred black stone symbolizing Elagabal. Elagabalus's personal life was equally controversial. He married multiple times, including a Vestal virgin, a direct violation of Roman law. Rumors suggest he appointed his lovers to high-ranking positions and indulged in extravagant banquets that shocked the Roman elite. His disregard for Roman traditions and his eccentric behavior alienated the Senate and the Praetorian Guard. By age 18, he was assassinated and his memory was condemned, with his reforms swiftly undone. Number 14. Mustafa I. Born in 1591, Mustafa was the son of Sultan Mehmed III and Halime Sultan. But was he meant to rule? His life was anything but ordinary. In a break from the brutal tradition of fratricide, his brother Ahmed III spared his life upon ascending the throne. However, this act of mercy led to Mustafa's confinement in the palace, a practice known as the cage, where he remained isolated for years. Mustafa's seclusion took a toll on his mental health. When he ascended to the throne in 1617, his erratic behavior became evident. He was known to throw coins to fish and birds and exhibited other eccentric actions. His first reign was short-lived. He was deposed in 1618 in favor of his nephew Osman II. However, after Osman's assassination during a Janissary rebellion in 1622, Mustafa was reinstated. His second tenure was equally tumultuous, marked by political instability and his continued mental decline. In 1623, Mustafa was deposed again and confined until his death in 1639. His tragic story underscores the profound impact of isolation and the complexities of Ottoman succession practices. Number 13. Sultan Ibrahim I. The tumultuous reign of Sultan Ibrahim I, often dubbed Ibrahim the Mad. Born in 1615, Ibrahim ascended to the Ottoman throne in 1640 after years confined in the palace's cafes, a practice meant to prevent power struggles, but which likely impacted his mental health. Ibrahim's reign was marked by erratic decisions and lavish spending. He had an obsession with furs, adorning himself and his chambers extravagantly, draining the empire's treasury. One of the most shocking episodes of his rule involved his harem. Believing rumors of infidelity, Ibrahim ordered the execution of 280 concubines by drowning them in the Bosporus. His unpredictable behavior and mismanagement led to widespread dissatisfaction. In 1648, a coalition of court officials and janissaries deposed him, and he was executed shortly thereafter. Number 12. King George III. How does a king's madness shape a nation? The reign of King George III, marked by bouts of insanity, left a lasting imprint on British history. Born in 1738, he took the throne in 1760. His reign, spanning 6 decades, witnessed significant events like the American Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. However, it's his recurrent mental illness that often overshadows his political legacy. The king's first major episode occurred in 1788, characterized by fever, frequent vomiting, and swelling of the legs and feet. Mentally, he exhibited acute mania, speaking incessantly for hours, often incoherently, and displaying erratic behavior. During these periods, he was restrained and subjected to treatments like blistering, reflecting the rudimentary understanding of mental health at the time. For years, it was believed that George III suffered from porphyria, a metabolic disorder. However, recent studies suggest that his symptoms align more closely with bipolar disorder, marked by extreme mood swings from mania to deep depression. His condition deteriorated permanently after 1810, leading to his son, the Prince of Wales, assuming the role of regent. The once vibrant monarch spent his final years in seclusion at Windsor Castle, blind, deaf, and plagued by dementia, until his death in 1820. Number 11. Emperor Rudolph II. Rudolph II, the Holy Roman Emperor, ruled with a fascination for the mystical. But did his obsessions shape or doom his reign? Born in 1552, he ascended to the imperial throne in 1576, turning his court into a sanctuary for alchemists, astrologers, and artists. Unlike his predecessors, Rudolph was more captivated by the mysteries of the universe than by political affairs. He transformed his court in Prague into a sanctuary for scholars and mystics, earning the city a reputation as a center for esoteric knowledge. Rudolph's insatiable curiosity led him to surround himself with an eclectic mix of thinkers. He invited renowned astronomers like Tycho Brahe and Johannes Kepler, who made significant advancements in our understanding of the cosmos. Alchemists such as Edward Kelly and John Dee were also welcomed, as Rudolph sought to uncover the secrets of transmutation and eternal life. The emperor's court wasn't limited to scientists. It was a melting pot of art and mysticism. Artists like Giuseppe Arcimboldo, known for his imaginative portraiture using objects like fruits and flowers, found patronage under Rudolph's reign. The emperor's fascination with the occult also led him to collect rare artifacts, creating a cabinet of curiosities that reflected his diverse interests. However, Rudolph's preoccupation with the arcane came at a cost. His neglect of political duties led to unrest within the empire, and his erratic behavior raised concerns about his mental stability. In 1611, he was forced to abdicate in favor of his brother Matthias, marking a turbulent end to his reign.
Get ready for today's mystic topic.
You're looking at the royal who was beyond weird, and yeah, that's putting it lightly. She wore gold like a goddess, but her face, covered in pulsing pink alien-like growths no one dared speak of. Was it a disease, a curse, or some twisted beauty ritual of the elite? Her wide-eyed stare looks less regal and more terrified, as if she knows something the others don't. Who was she? And why was this never in the history books? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to mention #MysticTopic.
Number 10.
King Carlos II. Carlos II of Spain ruled from 1665 to 1700, but was his fate sealed before his birth? Born in 1661, he was the last Habsburg ruler of Spain, a dynasty infamous for its inbreeding. This practice led to the infamous Habsburg jaw, a pronounced facial deformity. Carlos exemplified the detrimental effects of this inbreeding. His health was frail from birth. He didn't speak until 4 and couldn't walk until 8. Throughout his life, he suffered from various ailments, including epilepsy and impotence, rendering him incapable of producing an heir. Carlos's cognitive impairments made governance challenging. He struggled with basic tasks and was often manipulated by court factions. His inability to produce an heir led to a succession crisis, plunging Europe into the War of Spanish Succession after his death in 1700. Carlos's reign saw efforts to stabilize Spain's declining power. However, his personal hardships overshadowed these endeavors, leading to his moniker, El Hechizado, or the Bewitched, as many attributed his condition to supernatural causes.
Number 9.
Emperor Ferdinand I. Ferdinand I of Austria faced a reign marked by illness. So why is he best remembered for his love of dumplings? Born in 1793, he was the eldest son of Emperor Francis II and Maria Theresa of Naples and Sicily. Due to the close genetic relationship of his parents, they were double first cousins, Ferdinand suffered from numerous health problems from birth. He had hydrocephalus, a condition causing an enlarged head due to fluid accumulation, and severe epilepsy, reportedly experiencing up to 20 seizures a day. These ailments led to developmental delays. He was slow to walk and talk, and his speech remained impaired throughout his life. Despite his limitations, Ferdinand ascended to the throne in 1835. However, his ability to govern was significantly hindered, leading to a council of advisors effectively managing the empire. A popular anecdote highlights Ferdinand's childlike demeanor. Craving apricot dumplings, Marillenknödel, out of season, his chef informed him that apricots were unavailable. Frustrated, Ferdinand reportedly exclaimed, "I am the emperor, and I want dumplings." In 1848, amidst revolutionary upheavals, Ferdinand abdicated in favor of his nephew, Franz Joseph. He spent his remaining years in Prague, leading a quiet life until his death in 1875.
Number 8.
King Vlad III. How a 15th century prince's brutal methods led to the creation of one of literature's most infamous characters. The life of Vlad III, commonly known as Vlad the Impaler, whose reign of terror not only defended his homeland, but also inspired the legend of Dracula. Born between 1428 and 1431 in Transylvania, Vlad III was the son of Vlad II Dracul, a member of the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order dedicated to defending Christianity in Eastern Europe. The moniker Dracula translates to son of Dracul, linking directly to his father's association with the order. During his youth, Vlad and his brother Radu were held hostage by the Ottoman Empire, a common practice to ensure their father's loyalty. This period exposed Vlad to the Ottomans' military strategies and may have influenced his later tactics. Vlad III ruled Wallachia, a region in modern-day Romania, during 3 separate periods between 1448 and his death in 1476 to 77. His reign is infamous for the widespread use of impalement, a method where victims were pierced with a long stake and left to die slowly. This gruesome technique served both as punishment and a psychological deterrent against potential invaders. One of the most notorious events was in 1462 when invading Ottoman forces encountered a forest of impaled soldiers. An estimated 20,000 bodies displayed along the outskirts of Târgoviște. This horrifying sight reportedly caused Sultan Mehmed II to retreat, shaken by the display. Vlad's Romanian surname, Draculea, means son of Dracul, a reference to his father's membership in the Order of the Dragon. This connection, combined with his notorious reputation, is believed to have inspired Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. While Stoker's notes indicate he borrowed the name, it's debated how much of Vlad's actual history influenced the character's creation. Today, Vlad the Impaler is both reviled and revered. In Romania, he's considered a national hero who defended his people from Ottoman expansion. However, his brutal methods have cemented his place in history as one of the most ruthless leaders, forever intertwining his legacy with the myth of the vampire Count Dracula.
Number 7.
Queen Maria Eleonora, Queen of Sweden, Maria Eleonora of Brandenburg, longed for a son, but did her obsession bring more sorrow than joy? Her fixation on producing a male heir led to heartbreak and strained those closest to her. Maria Eleonora married King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden in 1620. Their union was marked by a shared passion for the arts, but beneath the surface lay Maria's intense yearning for a male heir. This obsession grew after the loss of their first 3 children, a daughter who died in infancy and 2 stillborn sons. The pressure to secure the dynasty weighed heavily on her. In 1626, Maria gave birth to a daughter, Christina. Initially, due to the baby's robust appearance, there was a brief misconception that she was a boy. Upon realizing the child was female, Maria's disappointment was palpable. She reportedly exclaimed, "Instead of a son, I am given a daughter, dark and ugly, with a great nose and black eyes. Take her from me, I will not have such a monster." This reaction highlighted her deep-seated despair over not having a male heir. Maria's behavior towards Christina was erratic and at times harmful. Consumed by her unmet expectations, she displayed overt rejection of her daughter. This tumultuous relationship led the Swedish council to deem Maria unfit to act as regent, citing her unstable mental state and adverse influence on Christina. The death of Gustavus Adolphus in 1632 during the 30 Years' War plunged Maria into profound grief. She insisted on keeping his body unburied for over a year, often visiting and caressing the corpse, oblivious to its decomposition. This prolonged mourning further strained her relationship with Christina, who was subjected to an environment shrouded in perpetual sorrow. Maria's life serves as a poignant reminder of how personal desires and societal pressures can intertwine, leading to profound personal and familial discord.
Number 6.
King Farouk, the extravagant and peculiar life of King Farouk of Egypt, whose reign was marked by opulence, eccentricity, and an uncontrollable urge to steal. He was born in 1920. Farouk ascended to the Egyptian throne in 1936 at the tender age of 16. His early reign was filled with promise, but it didn't take long for his lavish lifestyle and peculiar habits to overshadow his royal duties. Farouk's indulgences were legendary. He was known for his insatiable appetite, reportedly consuming extravagant meals and guzzling down 30 bottles of soda daily. His extravagant spending sprees across Europe were the talk of the continent, as he amassed a vast collection of luxury items, from fine clothes to priceless antiques. Despite his immense wealth, Farouk had a notorious penchant for stealing. His kleptomania didn't discriminate. He pilfered items both trivial and significant. One infamous incident involved British Prime Minister Winston Churchill. During a dinner in 1943, Farouk admired Churchill's pocket watch, a family heirloom gifted by Queen Anne to Churchill's ancestor. By the end of the evening, the watch had vanished, only to be discreetly returned later, with Farouk brushing it off as a practical joke. Farouk's erratic behavior and detachment from the needs of his people led to widespread dissatisfaction. His pro-Axis sympathies during World War II further alienated him from both his subjects and the Allies. By 1952, the Free Officers Movement, led by General Muhammad Naguib and future President Gamal Abdel Nasser, orchestrated a coup d'etat, forcing Farouk to abdicate in favor of his infant son, Fuad II, exiled to Italy. Farouk lived out his days in relative obscurity. His lavish habits continued, and he struggled with obesity. In 1965, at the age of 45, he succumbed to a heart attack after a particularly indulgent meal.
Number 5.
Princess Alexandra. Princess Alexandra of Bavaria was royalty, but did her mind trap her in a fragile illusion? She believed she had swallowed a glass piano, a bizarre conviction that shaped her unusual life. Born in 1826, she was the 8th child of King Ludwig I and Queen Therese. In her early 20s, she developed a delusion that she'd swallowed a glass grand piano. Terrified it might shatter inside her, she moved cautiously, avoiding any sudden movements. This wasn't an isolated case. The glass delusion was a psychological phenomenon during the Middle Ages and early modern period, where individuals believed they were made of glass and could shatter easily. Notably, King Charles VI of France also suffered from this, thinking his body was fragile like glass. Beyond her glass piano belief, Alexandra was obsessed with cleanliness and insisted on wearing only white clothing. These behaviors suggest she might have had obsessive-compulsive disorder, though it wasn't recognized as such back then. Despite her challenges, Alexandra found solace in writing. She authored several works, including Weihnachtsrosen, Christmas Roses, in 1852 and Feldblumen, Field Flowers in 1856, donating proceeds to charity. Her literary contributions provided an outlet for her creativity and offered her a sense of purpose. Princess Alexandra never married and spent her later years in seclusion. She passed away in 1875 at 49, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with both her literary works and her unique psychological experiences.
Number 4.
Empress Anna Ivanovna, who ruled Russia from 1730 to 1740, was notorious for her harsh sense of humor and elaborate pranks that often targeted the nobility. One of her most infamous acts involved Prince Mikhail Alexeyevich Golitsyn, a nobleman who had fallen out of favor. To humiliate Golitsyn, Anna forced him to marry her unattractive maid, Avdotia Buzheninova. The Empress then commissioned the construction of an elaborate ice palace in St. Petersburg during the exceptionally cold winter of 1739 to 1740. This palace, measuring approximately 80 feet long and 33 feet high, was crafted entirely from blocks of ice, including its furnishings. As part of the spectacle, Anna orchestrated a mock wedding ceremony for Golitsyn and Buzheninova. The couple was paraded through the streets in a cage mounted on an elephant before being confined to the freezing ice palace overnight, with orders to consummate their marriage to survive the bitter cold. Despite the harsh conditions, they managed to endure the night, but Avdotia fell ill and died shortly afterward. This event exemplifies Anna's penchant for using her power to subject others to degrading and cruel entertainments, reflecting the darker aspects of her reign.
Number 3.
King Ludwig II. Could a king's love for fairy tales shape the real world? King Ludwig II of Bavaria, the dreamer behind some of history's most magical castles and the inspiration for Disney's iconic design, left behind a legacy as grand as his imagination. Ascending to the throne in 1864 at just 18, Ludwig II quickly became known for his deep appreciation of the arts, particularly the operas of Richard Wagner. This admiration fueled his desire to bring fantasies to life through architecture. He envisioned and constructed opulent castles that seemed to leap straight from the pages of a storybook. Perhaps the most famous of his projects, Neuschwanstein Castle, began construction in 1869. Designed as a personal retreat, this castle was a homage to Wagner's operas and medieval legends. Its soaring turrets and intricate interiors embody Ludwig's romantic ideals. However, such grandeur came at a steep price. The initial budget of 3.2 million marks ballooned to over 6 million marks by the time of Ludwig's death in 1886, equivalent to approximately 50 million euros today. Ludwig's relentless pursuit of his architectural dreams severely strained the royal finances. Beyond Neuschwanstein, he commissioned other lavish projects, including Linderhof Palace and Herrenchiemsee, a partial replica of France's Palace of Versailles. By 1885, his debts had soared to over 14 million marks, prompting concerns among his ministers and fueling rumors about his mental stability. Amid mounting debts and political pressure, Ludwig was declared unfit to rule in 1886. Shortly after his deposition, he was found dead under mysterious circumstances in Lake Starnberg alongside his psychiatrist. The exact cause of their deaths remains a topic of speculation and intrigue. Today, Ludwig II is celebrated as the fairy tale king. His castles, especially Neuschwanstein, have become iconic tourist destinations, captivating millions with their beauty and the romanticism they embody. His life, marked by a blend of visionary creativity and tragic isolation, continues to fascinate historians and visitors alike.
Number 2.
Emperor Justin II, an emperor who, in his madness, bid his attendants and was carted around the palace while playing an organ? Meet Justin II, the Byzantine ruler whose reign took a dark turn into insanity. Ascending to the throne in 565 AD, Justin II initially showed promise as a capable leader. However, the weight of ongoing wars and political strife soon took a toll on his mental health. By 574 AD, Justin's behavior became increasingly erratic. Historical accounts describe him acting like a wild animal, biting his servants and attempting to harm himself. To prevent self-injury, he was confined to a mobile throne and soothed by continuous organ music. Recognizing his incapacity, Empress Sophia and General Tiberius stepped in to manage the empire's affairs. In a lucid moment, Justin adopted Tiberius as his son and appointed him Caesar, ensuring continuity in leadership. Justin II's reign is a poignant reminder of how personal afflictions can impact an entire empire. His struggle with mental illness led to significant shifts in Byzantine governance during a critical historical period.
Number 1.
King Christian VII. What happens when a king's mind is his greatest adversary? King Christian VII of Denmark, born in 1749, took the throne at 17 in 1766, but his mental struggles left the real power in the hands of those around him. From the outset, his reign was marred by signs of mental illness, which some historians attribute to a harsh upbringing under a brutal governor and exposure to morally corrupt court pages. Christian's actions became increasingly unpredictable. He was known to physically assault those he disliked and engage in inappropriate public displays, such as leaping over courtiers who bowed to him. Some accounts even suggest he had compulsive behaviors, including excessive masturbation. In 1768, Johann Friedrich Struensee, a German physician, was appointed as Christian's personal doctor. Recognizing the king's vulnerabilities, Struensee quickly gained influence, effectively becoming the de facto ruler of Denmark from 1770 to 1772. During this period, he implemented numerous progressive reforms, including the abolition of torture and the promotion of press freedom. Struensee's close relationship with Queen Caroline Matilda, Christian's wife, led to widespread scandal. Their alleged affair, coupled with Struensee's rapid political ascent, fueled resentment among the Danish nobility. In 1772, a coup led to Struensee's arrest and execution, and Caroline Matilda was exiled. Following these events, Christian VII's role became increasingly ceremonial. Real power shifted to his stepmother, Queen Dowager Juliana Maria, and other court officials. Christian remained king in name until his death in 1808, but his mental state prevented him from effectively ruling. Thanks for watching Royals Who Were Beyond Weird. If you enjoyed these bizarre royal tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more strange history. See you next time for more weird and wonderful stories.